today's video is about when he yells at you because Kirishima got hurt because of you. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And let's get going. The tension in the hospital waiting room was unbearable. The sterile scent of antiseptics clings to the air, mixing with the weight of unspoken words. You sit there, hands clenched in your lap, heart hammering against your ribs. Across from you, Katsuki Bakugo stands stiffly, his arms crossed over his chest. His jaw so tight it looks like he might snap at any moment. His crimson eyes were locked onto the floor, but you can feel the heat of his fury radiating off him like a fire on the verge of an explosion. You open your mouth, maybe to explain, maybe to defend yourself, but he beats you to it.
What the hell were you thinking?
His voice shatters the tense silence, making a nurse at the counter jump. The few other pro heroes waiting in the launch shift uncomfortably, giving you cautious glances before looking away. No one wants to get involved when Bakugo is like this. Your throat tightens, but you try to stay calm.
Katsuki, No. Shut up.
He snaps, stepping closer, his hands twitching at his sides.
You don't get to talk right now. You.
He breathes in sharply, his nostrils flaring as he struggles to keep his voice even.
You got Kirishima hurt, damn it.
Your shoulders tense at the accusation. I didn't mean to, you say quietly, but he doesn't seem to hear you.
He took a hit for you. A hit that you should have dodged. But no, you just stood there like a dumbass and let him throw himself in front of you. Do you even know what could have happened?
His voice cracks slightly at the end, a mixture of rage and something else, something more fragile, more afraid. You flinch.
I didn't mean for him to. Of course he didn't mean to.
He roars, his hands clenching into fists.
But do you think that changes anything? You think that it makes it okay that he's in there right now? That it could have been you in his place?
His voice was raw, his breath coming hard and fast, as if sheer force of his emotions was suffocating him. You swallow hard, trying to fight back the lump rising in your throat. You know you made a mistake. You know you froze up when you shouldn't have. The villain had been faster than you expected, stronger than you prepared for, and Kirishima, stupid, selfless Kirishima, had thrown himself between you and the incoming blow before you even registered what was happening. Now he was in surgery, and Bakugo was standing right in front of you, barely trying to even keep himself together. I know I messed up, you whisper, voice shaky but firm nonetheless. And I know that this is my fault.
Damn right it's your fault.
He's breathing heavily now, his chest rising and falling in quick, uneven movements. But then, his expression twists into something that was almost painful, like yelling at you wasn't enough to rid him of the storm inside him.
You don't get it, do you? What if it had been you? What if instead of Kirishima, you were the one in there? Do you have any idea how that would have...
He cuts himself off. He's breathing harsh, his hands shaking at his sides. His fury flickers, just for a second, and in its place is something raw, something vulnerable. Your lips part in realization. He's not just mad, he's terrified. You stand up slowly, ignoring the way your legs tremble beneath you. Katsuki, you say softly, reaching for him, but he pulls away, turning his back to you, his hands digging into his hair as if he's trying to physically stop himself from breaking apart.
You're so damn reckless,
he mutters, voice lower but just as intense.
You always act like you can handle anything, but you don't think about it. You don't think about what it does to me, what it does to us, when you almost get yourself killed.
Your breath catches. He lets out a shaky exhale, his shoulders rising and falling with the force of it.
I can't. I won't lose you.
His voice is barely above whisper now, but it's the loudest thing in the room to you. The weight of his words crash into you, all at once. Kirishima getting hurt wasn't just about Kirishima. It was about you, about what could have happened, about what could still happen if you keep making reckless mistakes. He stepped forward hesitantly, placing a hand on his back. He doesn't pull away this time. I'm sorry, you say, and you mean it, not just because Kirishima got hurt, but because you didn't think about how it would affect the people who loved you. Bakugo doesn't say anything for a long time, and then, with a deep, shuddering breath, he turns to you. His eyes were still blazing, but there's something else now. Something that was soft. Something that was desperate. He grabs your wrist. His grip firm but not rough.
You have to be more careful,
He says, his voice lower, but just as intense as before.
Promise me this, Wyan.
You nod, squeezing his hand. I promise. It's not enough to erase what happened, but it's enough for now. The tension lingers between the two of you, heavy and unspoken, but the fire in Bakugo's eyes has dimmed, just slightly, if you may say. He exhales, still gripping your wrist like he might disappear if he lets go. The door to the surgery room creaks open, and both your heads snap toward it. A doctor steps out, removing his mask.
The patient Kirishima is stable. The surgery went well. He'll need some time to recover, but he's going to be just fine.
The weight in your chest finally lifts, and your knees almost buckle with relief. Bakugo's hand tightens around yours for just a second before he lets go. His head dips slightly, and you catch the way his shoulders tremble, just for a moment. You reach for him this time, wrapping your arms around his waist. He stiffens, but then, with a deep sigh, his arms encircle around you, pulling you close to him. His grip just as fierce as his words had been earlier.
Don't ever scare me like that again,
He mutters into your hair. You nod against his chest, holding on to him just as tightly. I won't. Neither of you moves for a long time, standing there in the quiet hospital hallway, holding on to each other like it's the only thing keeping you grounded. And maybe it really was. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you like this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and goodbye.